be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The standard has been set.
Bottom line is we're just getting started.
Time to chase it.
Ball came out. Oregon's got it. This one's going to go to the house. With the ball, get it upfield, and he's going to score. Kick is up on the way. It's gone. Camden Lewis. I can win a ball game for you.
The DNA and their competitive character is something really, really special.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, C.J. Verdell.
Football means a lot here. We want to turn up right away. We don't waste an opportunity.
This is the Oregon Football Coaches Show, presented by Carl's Jr. on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Visit your locally family-owned and operated Carl's Jr. today. Carl's Jr. Feed your happy. Tonight's show is also brought to you by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks. Drink Pepsi. And by Country Financial. Protect what matters. From the Country Financial Studios alongside Mike Jorgensen and Joey Mack, here's the voice of the Ducks, Jerry Allen.
Well, good evening, everybody. Joey Mack filling in, at least for this portion of the show, for Jerry Allen. Mike Jorgensen, though, is still here. Scott Phillips, who we don't have in the opening billboard, even though he's the one that makes all of this happen, you know, he's here, too. We're going to talk with Johnny Johnson coming up. Johnny Johnson, the third, by the way, senior wide receiver, and Oregon offensive coordinator Joe Moorhead will join us here coming up in just a little while. Jorgie, a little bit of a slow start, but the Ducks are still 2-0 after a big win up in Pullman.
Yeah, you know, I love the lead-in that you hear Mario Cristobal saying, love the competitive spirit of these guys. That's exactly what I felt when I just heard that. That's what we see in these guys each and every week. You know, you dig a little bit of a 19-7 hole, you know, some self-inflicted wounds to get there, and yet those guys didn't flinch. It was like a bunch of veterans, the way they responded in that situation with the quick score right at the end of the first half, and then they just took charge in the second half. Really neat to see.
Before we continue to look back, we also need to tell you we've got a kickoff time.
Yeah,
that's right. 12:30 on ESPN2. The Ducks and the Bruins at Autzen Stadium. Remember, originally set to be a evening game on a Friday. Pac-12 had some movement in the schedule. Bruins didn't want to play on that short week. Nobody would want to play Sunday until Friday. That's just too short of a week. So the Ducks and the Bruins are going to face off, now we know for sure, at 12:30 on ESPN2 on Saturday. And fans, just keep in mind, there's going to be a lot of cool things coming the next few days. Pretty awesome uniform, the Ohana collection that you've seen, the sideline stuff. I mean, it's cool from a swag perspective, but the storytelling, I have to tell you, I'm really excited about that moving forward with this Polynesian connection. It's a special part of the Oregon program.
It is. I mean, the roots are deep in what has happened here and the Polynesian connection and how it's worked and obviously, you know, some of the tremendous student athletes and coaches that are all part of that. It's really cool.
There's one guy, we've got a picture of him on the wall over there doing a Heisman pose. He was pretty good. Yeah, he wasn't bad. In all seriousness, though, the Ducks now getting ready to face UCLA. I think that the offense, Jorgie, in the second half against Washington State really fired on all cylinders.
They did, you know, and Joey, it's one of those ones, and we'll get a chance to talk to Coach Morehead here in just a little bit. You know, they'd love to see him fire on those cylinders in the first half and the second half, but you know, at the same time, they're playing really good, solid football, and they just get stronger and better as each game goes on. They've made improvements each game, and so let's see what happens from week 2 to week 3. But, you know, these guys just continue to be blue-collar workers, and it's really cool, again, to see how this team, both offensively and defensively, have gotten better each week.
Coach Moorhead will join us in a moment. First, real quick, a look at the Bruins. What's your scouting report on UCLA this year?
Well, I'll tell you, it's tough to tell. I mean, it really is, just based on what they did with Colorado in the first game where they gave up close to 50 points. Now, I know they turned the ball over a little bit and gave Colorado a short field at the beginning of the game and some easy points, frankly, and then battled back and almost won the game. And then they just absolutely shut Cal down on, 2 days preparation, unfortunately for Cal and UCLA for that game. So it's tough to tell. It's kind of a Jekyll Hyde defense, but one thing we know for sure, they're never going to lack offense with Dorian Thompson-Robinson and the whole rest of that crew. Obviously, Chip Kelly coming back to town. They'll score points. You better be ready for it.
That's right. Mike Jorgensen here. I'm Joey Mack. Coming up, we've got Joe Moorhead. He's the offensive coordinator for the Ducks, and I've already seen a few comments that have been like, I absolutely love the play calling. Well, so far the Ducks are 2-0, and we're going to talk with Joe Moorhead about that and get to know him a little bit. Stick with us inside the Country Financial Studio. It's the Carl's Jr. Oregon Football Coaches Show, talking offense with the offensive coordinator Joe Moorhead next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Happy from Carl's Jr. Listen closely. Do you hear that? That's the sizzling sound of 2 1/3-pound juicy Angus beef patties stacked with 4 strips of bacon on the Monster Angus Thick Burger. You're getting hungry for the bacon. You're driving to the Angus beef. But wait, don't take your eyes off the road for the monster. When I snap my star fingers, you'll pull into the nearest Carl's Jr. and order the new Monster Angus Thick Burger. Feed your happy.
Available for limited time at participating restaurants. Price and participation may vary.
Find out what happens when road rage takes a deadly turn. Rent Unhinged, now available at Redbox, starring Russell Crowe. He's a man whose actions escalate to deadly proportions as he becomes single-mindedly determined to teach a single mother a lesson after she impatiently honks at him at a red light. Watch Unhinged along with other new movies and make it a Redbox night. Head to one of the 40,000 Redbox locations, stream on your smart TV, or visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch. The ins and outs of all things Ducks. This is the Oregon Football Coaches Show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Everybody buckle up. Mom. Buckle up.
Let's go.
Buckle up.
Can we go to the store? Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Everybody, buckle up.
A lot goes on in the car, but you're in control. So only move when you hear the click that says they're buckled in. Never give up until they buckle up. Learn more at safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Joey Mack and Mike Jorgensen with you inside the Country Financial Studio, second floor of the Casanova Center, and joining us virtually, thanks to technology, via the University of Oregon Alumni Association guest line, is offensive coordinator Joe Moorhead. Well, he's here on the TV in studio, and he looks like he's joining us from his office upstairs in the Hatfield-Dowling complex. Coach, you're about a football field away from us, and we hope that the weather's a little bit better over there.
How you guys doing tonight?
Hanging in there, Coach.
Good, Coach.
It's definitely a little bit different, but thank you so much for taking the time on the Carl's Jr. Oregon Football Coaches Show. You know, Coach, I just want to start generally, talk a little X's and O's before we get into your career, your life. Just your breakdown of your team's performance so far, starting out 2-0.
Yeah, obviously the most important stat is the one in the left-hand column. All right, so we're 2-0. Offensively, I'd say, pleased but not satisfied. I think Coach Cristobal's mentioned it. I think we're really just kind of scratching the surface of who we are and what we can become. But, talking about, points per game, explosive plays, converting third downs, scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Obviously, we got to clean up the turnover part, but I think the kids are understanding the information we're providing in the meetings. They're practicing it very, very hard during the week and executing it at a, pretty high level with some good precision on Saturdays. So I'm excited where we are, but I think we got a lot of room to improve.
We're going to unpack a lot of that. First, I want to go back in time with you a little bit, Coach, and tell us a little bit about your family and the trip out to Oregon. I understand that it was an eventful one.
Yeah, we in this COVID world, moving out from Starkville, we didn't, you have to take a few flights to get out here, so we didn't want to kind of do the airport and plane thing, and didn't want to drive in the car and, stay in hotels. So we decided that we're going to buy an RV and make the trip out. And, I'm kind of a city guy. My wife's a little bit more country, but, none of us had experience. But we found out pretty quickly. So the first stop, we didn't make it to an RV park. So we were in a closed down gas station in West Memphis, Arkansas. Pulled up to a train tracks, and we're surrounded by 18-wheelers, and the trains were ripping by like every 15 minutes. So that didn't go well. But then we found out, that we got to the RV park. So those were kind of cool. Made some stops along the way, went to Mount Rushmore, and there were very few RV, Robin Williams, Chevy Chase, National Lampoon Vacations moments. There are a few of them, but it was more good than bad.
And nothing better than enjoying it with family all at the same time. I mean, that's what it's all about. So, hey, Coach, as a guy who has spent most of his life east of the Mississippi, how did you, through the years, view Oregon, University of Oregon, the Oregon Ducks, not only as a student athlete and a quarterback, but also as a coach over the years?
No, you just have the utmost respect. Going back to all the fantastic coaches that have been here, and I have some buddies that played at Penn State, and I know they played Oregon in a bowl game that one year, kind of when I was like in the mid '90s. But just going through like you said, the successful coaches, the successful players, the Pac-10 championships, playing in the national championship. There's always been, from afar, a high level of respect for the program as players, as coaches, and then certainly you kind of hear the Bunyan-esque tales of Oregon's facilities. And as hard as it is to believe, it's understated. So then when you get out here, you add all that beautiful city of Eugene on top of it. It's the total package.
With that in mind, Coach, what drew you to Oregon? Why'd you come out here?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when things went the way they did at Mississippi State, and I guess that'd probably be another show to argue or just to discuss that whole deal. But had multiple opportunities, as a coordinator, head coach at the Power Five, and some NFL things. But what really sold me, you talk about personal, professional, and monetary. My family wanted to come here. They did research on the area, research on the schools. So that, that was all thumbs up. But the biggest sell was Coach Cristobal. And you can see why he's one of the top recruiters, if not the top recruiter in the country. And about 5 minutes into the phone call, I was kind of wondering where on the dotted line I should sign and what brick wall I wanted to run through, because he had me that fired up. And then you look at, obviously, the facilities, the school, the players, the opportunity to compete for championships. It was it just checked off all the boxes.
Coach, as a coordinator at a lot of places, a quarterback coach and a head coach, how have you and Coach Cristobal been able to work together? How have you helped complement each other, do you feel?
That's been seamless. And I've had, 2 opportunities to move from a head coach's role, to a coordinator role, one by choice, one not by choice. But I think when you have a chance to kind of sit back and recalibrate, it allows you to really focus, be very myopic in your approach. Whereas when you're the head coach, you're worried about 120 kids in the program and every aspect of everything that goes on and all the dotting the I's and crossing the T's. And now I'm focused on coordinating the offense, coaching the quarterbacks, recruit my area, my position. And, Coach Cristobal's got a phenomenal plan, an unbelievable culture, very detail oriented. And all I want to be for him is a sounding board. So I don't offer advice, but, if he has a question or kind of like, hey, what did you guys do? Or do you think this is a good idea? I offer him what I think is good, but he doesn't need much of it, obviously, because we're doing a fantastic job here.
Joe Moorhead joining us. Coach, I'm curious, just the factors in your career that have helped shape the offense that you run. And I know it's ever evolving depending on personnel, anything else, but what factors have shaped the offense that you run?
Yeah, I mean, I've been very fortunate, very early in my career to be at the University of Pittsburgh with Walt Harris, a very nationally renowned quarterback coach and offensive guy. So kind of cut my teeth there, learning offense at this level. My offensive coordinator and quarterback coach in college was Nick Cortero, and he was at Kansas State with Chad May and all those guys under Bill Snyder. So that's the system we ran in college. So I'd say that was probably my first huge influence, my college head coach. And then Coach Harris at Pitt. And then really the 1 year that I spent on the defensive side of the ball at Pitt under Larry Coyer, who's coordinated in the Super Bowl in the NFL, third-year coach, and being on that other side of the ball. And then just kind of moving from there to different stops I've been. been a coordinator at all the places and really had a chance to develop our scheme and kind of, get it to what you see today.
Well, you look at, and you just said it right there, what you see today. And each week, the first 2 weeks, Coach, with Stanford, Washington State, your team has gotten, it looks like better each week. And we don't get a chance to see the film and break it down like you guys do. But each week they've gotten better, and particularly each game, as the game has gone on, they've gotten stronger, really worn some teams down. What do you attribute that to?
To the kids, number one, first and foremost, of their talent and their buy-in and their level of execution. I think it's, our offensive coaching staff and everything that we do is a collective and collaborative, endeavor in terms of the game plan and what we want to do in what situation and why. Hopefully calling good plays and putting the kids in position to be successful. And I like the balance, right? 269 rushing, 269 passing. But I think the big thing is you talk about the second half, and Coach talks about all the time, our fourth quarter program, where, we throw those things up heading into the fourth and it means something. And I think our kids really fall back onto the culture of our program. So outside of talent and coaching and play calling and execution and all that thing, I think that the culture of our program is something that's really taken over in the second half.
The media has talked to you about this. It's a number that we've certainly bragged about on the broadcast, Coach. Just the success on third down, 16 of 22, 72.7%. I don't even know what to ask about that. That's just incredible, isn't it?
I don't want to jinx it, so I'm going to knock on
all right.
some wood here. So hopefully the best way to be good at third downs is to stay out of them. So as many, good plays on first and second downs as we can have. And then it's always about manageable down and distances. So, third and 1 to 6, it's more, I don't say an offensive advantage, but it's a achievable, then you get into the 7s and 10s and maybe it leans a little more to the defense. But yeah, I saw the number from the Stanford game and then the one from this past one, and I kind of didn't want to look at it because I want to keep that thing going.
And your team's been, the offense in particular, Coach, and the team as a whole has been incredibly mature, resilient and mature in a lot of these situations. I mean, you come into the season with, and everybody talks about an offensive line that has one combined start, a quarterback that's been here a little while but never really played snap 1 to snap 66 in a game, if that's how many there's been. And there's been some situations come up so far this season where there could have been a panic, they could have got frustrated, and yet they just seemed like they've been laser focused and really mature about their approach.
Yeah, once again, goes back to culture. And I'm a firm believer that you never rise to the level of your opponent. You always fall back to the level of your preparation. And Coach makes a huge point of 1-0, a huge point of the process. And I think when our kids get to that point in adversity, you either hit adversity or adversity hits you. And I think our kids welcome it. They don't run away from it. So when we get to those points where we need to draw something from down deep and make a play, I think it speaks volumes of the culture that Coach Cristobal's created here.
Offensive coordinator Joe Moorhead, our guest. Quick timeout, Coach. We're going to come back, talk with you a little bit more. It is the Carl's Jr. Oregon Football Coaches Show back inside the Country Financial Studio right after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
What's it like to grow with the O? At OCCU, we support Duck fans each step of the way by educating our youth with Lucky Duck Savings, celebrating independence with Duck Debit Checking, and rewarding members with the Duck Credit Card. That's how Duck fans grow with OCCU. Learn how you can too at myoccu.org/ducks.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Make a trip to the epicenter of Oregon wine country and visit Elizabeth Chambers. Our wines are crafted authentically in an old-world style in one of McMinnville's most historic working wineries. Let our staff lead you through a tasting of highly rated wines. Our newly renovated tasting room is chic and urban. It's no wonder people are talking about Elizabeth Chambers Cellar, now offering private seated tastings. Call us to find out more information or to make your reservation today. Elizabeth Chambers Cellar is open daily from 11 to 5. Find us online at elizabethchamberscellar.com.
Ducks football lives here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart savings strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
We're back on the Carl's Jr. Oregon Football Coaches Show. Joey Mack alongside Mike Jorgensen and Joe Moorhead joining us, Oregon Offensive Coordinator. Coach, we talked a little bit about your family's trip across the country, but I didn't get a chance really to ask you to talk about your family a little bit. Behind every coach, I know there's always a pretty strong family, because culture's not just in the football program, it's at home, isn't it?
Yeah, blessed with a wonderful family. I mean, not sure how far back we go, but mom and dad still living in Pittsburgh. One of three. Dad worked in the mill for 35 years, bartender, janitor, a bunch of odd jobs to put us all through school. So older brother, older sister. Brother lives in Minneapolis. Sister's still back in Pittsburgh. Wonderful wife, Jennifer. As you said, I'm the quarterback of the team. She's the quarterback of the house. So she's calling all the shots there, and I'm the boss when she ain't home. So that's a rule we follow there. Daughter is a sophomore here, Kira, at UO. Oldest son, Mason, is a senior at Marist, and then my youngest one's in 7th grade at O'Hara, and all doing remote learning right now, but enjoying the area.
Yeah, the remote learning. My wife is a 2nd grade teacher, so I'm very familiar with the remote learning these days. Coach, I want to ask you about your quarterback, Tyler Shuck. I've just been so impressed with the way that he's performed for you early in the season. Your assessment of him, and what's the next step that he can take?
I love the fact that he's so engrossed in the mental aspect and the preparation part of it. He's a guy that it's a cliche term, but a true gym rat. He'll be in, watching the practice film before we even get off the field, and has questions and really wants to know not just what, but why. So anytime you have that at the quarterback position, it's very positive. But, he could beat you with his brains, his arms, and his legs, and he's shown the ability to do both in games at a very high level. I think he'll be the first to say there's a lot of things we need to clean up. Certainly as a team, as an offense, stop treating the ball like a hot potato in the first half, and I think that'll alleviate some of our. But he's for a first-year starter against some quality opponents without a spring ball, with 5 new guys up front. I think he and the offense have performed fairly well up to this point.
And a little thing that can sometimes be a big thing for a guy like that, he hasn't really started and played a whole game since high school.
Right.
He's played in spot duties. What type of a challenge is that for a guy who's been 2.5 years or so in a program, not played a full game, and all of a sudden, boom, here you go?
Yeah, it's the game reps, and there's really no substitute for the speed of the game. So you can be on a million Zooms and putting the X's and O's on the screen and going over the film in the room, and you can practice against the defense, you can practice against a scout team, but there's really no substitute for game experience. So I think every rep that he gains in a actual live setting is valuable, and I think he'll continue to improve off of those.
Coach, how about this offensive line? 5 new starters. Just your assessment of the way they've played. A couple Pac-12 Offensive Linemen of the Week honorees already. Just a really solid start.
Yeah, I love it. They got a chip on their shoulder. People talked about graduating 5 and losing Panay, obviously, which was huge. We'd love to have him back here. But they've been very cohesive. They've been incredibly physical. They've moved people off the line of scrimmage. They protect the quarterback. And, I think it's a tribute to the kids. And obviously, Coach Mirabal and Coach Cristobal, you got 2 PhDs in that room coaching them up. They've done a very, very nice job thus far.
And then you look in the backfield, and you've got a big group of running backs, talented running backs that not only have the ability to break big gains, make big plays as they have so far this year, but to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield and be receivers. What an advantage it is to have guys that can do that.
Yeah, you wish you could play a lot of these snaps with 2 footballs. You're so deep at that position. But yeah, Coach Master does a phenomenal job with those guys, kind of tailoring who's in the game to what plays called in their skill set. You know what I mean? And you've got a bunch of guys who can do different things, and they've all been very productive. And then I think there's a couple guys we haven't seen a ton of Sean and Trey yet, but they're incredibly talented as well. So we've gotten a bunch of production from that position, and whether the ball's being handed off or thrown to them, they're critical to our importance.
Coach, I'm always curious for the teaching that you guys do and the myriad of drills that you guys run in practice. One I know that's so critical for you guys is that handoff, that read, that run-pass option. What is the key to teaching a running back and a quarterback that exchange? Maybe not just on an option, but an exchange in general in the backfield.
Myriad, I like it. That's a good SAT word.
Thank you.
English major, I appreciate that. But no, we have a run timing period every day at practice where the quarterbacks and backs are together working on the mesh, and Coach Master kind of handles that. And then every single rep that we get throughout the course of practice, whether it's the quarterback handing it off and pulling and running, or pulling it off, pulling it and then reading someone else for the third phase, or pulling it and throwing a route. We have to be very precise and deft at our ball handling, to create indecision in the defense. And you talk about the run game being numbers, angles, and grass. The quarterback making the right decision and that mesh being clean is of critical importance.
As an offensive coordinator, you can be one of 2 places. You can be on the field, or you can be up in the press box. You on the field. Why on the field? Why did you choose that? Is that something you've done all your career, or is it something you moved from the press box on down to the field?
No, I had been. At Georgetown and Akron, I was up in the booth and did it, and I liked it. And then at UConn as well. I'm sorry. And then once I got a head coaching job at Fordham and continued to call the plays, there's really not the option to be up. So I had to learn pretty quickly to call from the sideline, and I was pleasantly surprised with how much you can see and what you can kind of get communicated to the kids on the sideline as well. So I think there is a certain component to the motivational and communication aspect in person, particularly with the quarterback, and also having a great set of eyes up top. The coaches that we have up in the booth providing information. When you have guys up there who are seasoned pros and can give you what you need, in terms of identification and communication, it makes it a lot easier to call it from the field.
Hey, I've got another SAT word for you that Mike Jorgensen's going to love. How about a slobber knocker, Coach? A slobber knocker, I mean, what's your definition of that one?
Our offensive line.
All right.
Yeah.
I pluralize it, slobber knockers with an S.
All right, I like it. Joe Moorhead, our guest. Coach, I got to ask you, too, about your receivers catching the ball. We're going to talk to Johnny Johnson coming up a little bit later on the show. They've made some impressive catches for your quarterback, haven't they?
Yeah, we haven't been afraid to throw the ball down the field, and I think that's been a positive. Their ability to, help us in the vertical game, but also doing the intermediate stuff, the short stuff. Turning long catches or short catches into long catches. But they've also been very, very tenacious on the perimeter with as much things that we do. Getting the ball on the edges and those guys, blocking down the field. And I think the good thing is we really spread the wealth. Look at the dispersal of touches relative to running back, tight end, and receiver. Everyone's kind of had a hand in it. It's been good that a lot of guys have been able to contribute.
I look at some guys you've coached over time, Coach, and at various places, and in the places you have coached, whether it's UConn or Pitt, where you started out, and other places like that. At Penn State, you had Saquon Barkley, a tremendous, obviously, player. He's a G-man now, which I absolutely love, and I just thought I'd throw that out there. And then you got C.J. Verdell here at Oregon. Compare or contrast those two guys, and you don't have to go real long, but just the differences, maybe certain similarities between those guys.
I think their production is probably, you look at it and they're very similar. Saquon, 2-time Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year and a multiple-time All-American. CJ's running style, actually, really, I compare it more to the Colin Hill kid at Mississippi State. Just the way they're built, their toughness between the tackles, the way people, bounce off of them and they're not easily brought to the ground. And then by the same token, when they get to the edge, they're a threat to be a home run guy. So Saquon was a little bit unique in his skill set, but and Kyle will be a draft pick, and I think CJ's skill set compares very favorable to him.
Finally, Coach, we got to ask you a little bit about UCLA, a bit of a report on their defense and some of the keys for your offense heading into this matchup with the Bruins on Saturday.
Yeah, at each level, I get to know them by numbers rather than names. 92, the interior defensive lineman. I'm pretty sure he's an Oregon kid, very twitchy, does a great job with his hands, very physical. The Mike linebacker, 33, kind of the quarterback of the defense, makes the calls, very, very, very physical player. And then number one on the back end, the corner, and they're multiple. They bring pressures from all over the place with a variety of unique coverages. Like you said, got put in some bad situations in the Colorado game, but you give up 10 points in a game to any Power 5 opponent, that's a pretty good day at the office. So we're going to have to be ready. Coach Azzanaro, I've known him a very, very long time. And Coach Norwood, two excellent coaches, got the kids playing hard, so it'll be a huge challenge.
Coach Joe Moorhead, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for being a Duck. It was great to get to know you a little bit here tonight, and looking forward to doing it more, and good luck the rest of the season. We sure appreciate the time, sir.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe Moorhead, Oregon offensive coordinator. It's the Carl's Jr. Oregon Football Coaches Show. Coming up, we got Johnny Johnson III talking wide receivers next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
When did business insurance become one size fits all? At EMC Insurance Companies, we've known for more than 100 years that businesses have unique needs. It's why from coast to coast, we provide insurance packages that are designed and tailored specifically for nearly 500 different types of businesses. Add our expert loss control and quick claim services, and you can see why customers count on EMC to help protect what they've built. Find an EMC agent near you at emcins.com.
This is Happy from Carl's Jr. Listen closely. Do you hear that? That's the sizzling sound of two 1/3 pound juicy Angus beef patties stacked with 4 strips of bacon on the Monster Angus Thick Burger. You're getting hungry for the bacon. You're driving to the Angus beef. But wait, don't take your eyes off the road for the monster. When I snap my star fingers, you'll pull into the nearest Carl's Jr. and order the new Monster Angus Thick Burger. Feed your happy.
Available for limited time at participating restaurants. Price and participation may vary.
Find out what happens when road rage takes a deadly turn. Rent Unhinged, now available at Redbox, starring Russell Crowe. He's a man whose actions escalate to deadly proportions as he becomes single-mindedly determined to teach a single mother a lesson after she impatiently honks at him at a red light. Watch Unhinged along with other new movies and make it a Redbox night. Head to one of the 40,000 Redbox locations, stream on your smart TV, or visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch. More Jerry, Jorgie, and Joey after this timeout. This is Ducks football from Learfield IMG College.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions, don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Hey everyone, let's all stop what we're doing and take a moment. You see? Every moment can be kind of special. But they can be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments, it doesn't matter. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Back on the Carl's Jr. Oregon Football Coaches Show. Joey Mack here with you. Carl's Jr., and I know that Jorgie will want me to say this for you. Stop by Carl's Jr. for 2 juicy 3rd pound Angus beef patties and your sizzling bacon on the new Monster Angus Thick Burger. Feeds your happy. That feeds your happy, doesn't it?
It does.
You know what feeds my happy? Peyton Pritchard just got drafted.
Oh,
if you're live with us, here, he just got drafted number 26 to the Boston Celtics. Congratulations to Peyton Pritchard, and here's to a very long and successful NBA career. I sure think that he'll do that. That's pretty darn cool. Well, coming up tonight, the Pepsi Player Spotlight. Earlier today, got a chance to sit down with Johnny Johnson III. The second time that we've had him on the Coaches Show the last couple years, and it was a lot of fun catching up with him because he wore one certain Pro Ducks jersey. Our conversation with Johnny Johnson earlier today. Back-to-back seasons that we've talked with this guy on the Coaches Show. Johnny Johnson III is with us. Normally, there's like a little bit of a crowd here. We get, Johnny, like you remember, there's like me, Jerry, Jorgie, Scott, Terry Johns is here, a few other people. So I feel like we need to like make sure that Scott and I clap like extra viciously to make sure you guys know that you're still appreciated. It's a little different. We were just talking before we hit record. Things are a little bit different. So Johnny, let me brag about you a little bit. And before I do that though, for fans who are watching, can you stand up and show that jersey that you're rocking? Look at this. He's got the Herbert jersey. Oh, so well done.
Had to get me one, man. Had to.
So is that like a regular thing that you wear now, or did you wear this like special for us?
No, I just happened to have it on today. Pat had texted me, told me the time, and I was like, "Can I wear this? I already have it on. Can I just wear it?" Yeah.
That's well done. That number 10 jersey. So you've been watching, Johnny, I take it. You've been tuning in?
Yes.
So I know that you graded Tyler Shuck. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Can you grade Herb so far?
Give Herb I give him an A. Just a flat A.
Flat A.
That's just a flat. It would be an A+ if they're winning games.
Yeah.
But that's the downside of it. But the way he's performing, 6 straight weeks of Rookie of the Week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different. That's unheard of. So.
Hey, so in all seriousness, Jerry Allen made the comment on one of our broadcasts, and I wholeheartedly agree. And I'm curious what you think. That if the Chargers had your guys' defense, they'd probably have won a few more games by now. Your thoughts?
Yeah, we do have a great defense. I think they got a good defense. Man, things turn out bad. It's always the little things, especially in the NFL. Yeah. It's the smallest things.
No doubt. Well, I love it that you're rocking the Herbert jersey. This is great timing for us. Johnny Johnson III, our guest, senior wide receiver from Chandler, Arizona. Okay, now I'm going to brag about you. One of 2 players in program history, by the way, everybody, with 200 yards receiving in a road game. So apparently it's not only under the odds and lights, Johnny, that you perform well. We'll talk about that. And one of 3 returning Pac-12 players that had over 800 receiving yards in 2019. And also I know that you and your teammate Jalen Redd combined for the most touchdowns of any returning wide receiver tandem in the Pac-12 this season. In other words, Johnny, heading into your senior season, a lot of good things to talk about. You feel like you're playing your best right now?
Yes, most definitely. I think with the addition of Coach BMAC, getting me right and, perfecting, polishing my game, I think I'm playing at my highest level right now, and this is the best I've felt.
All right, tell us about Coach Mcclendon. What's it like playing for him?
It's fun. He's going to get you better every day. He's going to be that same guy every day. He's always going to push you, regardless if it's a good rep, bad rep. He's always going to coach you on something, and it's a blessing just to have him.
You guys have had a few different wide receiver coaches now for all the guys in your room, Johnny. I mean, I know that can be tough, but also it seems like you guys probably taken a lot of different things from some different coaches over the years, right?
Definitely. Yeah, it's a lot of different things. I think I've taken a lot of good things, and I've seen a lot of bad things that coaches do, and I think Coach BMAC is just like the perfect coach. If you want a good wide receiver coach, go to that man.
All right, I'll take it. Well, I'll tell you, he's been selfishly for us, he's a great interview, Johnny. So I can only imagine what he's like in the meeting rooms. Another new coach. I want to ask you about your offensive coordinator in Coach Moorhead. What's it like playing for Coach Moorhead this year?
Super fun. He's electric. He brings that energy, brings that juice. He gets us fired up, and then the play calling is just amazing. He knows what he's doing out there. We trust him. He trusts us. It's a great combination of things.
I can see why Coach Moorhead trusts you guys, though. I mean, you heard me reading the numbers, Johnny. I mean, the wide receiver room is deep this year, isn't it?
Yeah, we got some guys, and all of us, there's no drop-off when somebody comes out the game, so it's exciting.
Competition level must be high every day at practice, too.
Most definitely.
How do you guys handle that? I mean, how do you go about, constantly pushing each other when you're battling with guys that are your brothers, too?
I think it's just that we all hold each other to that same standard, and we're always chasing that standard. It's a standard that you can never meet. And Coach BMAC does a good job of pushing us to achieve that standard that is unachievable at the end of the day.
All right, I said that we'd ask you about Tyler Shuck. So you gave Herb an A. I know you talked to the media, Johnny. You're smiling, and you know what I'm about to ask you because you gave Tyler a B-, right? So can you break down what your rubric is for grading your quarterback for us?
I think okay, my rubric, I would say it goes down to decision making, how you deal with when things go bad. Making those just plays that are just like those plays, like, okay, those, just being consistent, I think, at the end of the day, and, playing within yourself, not trying to be like another QB, playing within yourself. There's not really a rubric. Those are just some things off the top of my head, but you get the vibe.
Oh, I for sure do. I mean, there's always like that part of every teacher's grading system, right? Where it's like, oh, well, this is just kind of like, I don't really have this on the rubric. It's like you just deserve this credit or you don't because the teacher thinks so, right? I mean, that's part of it. All right, so I know you said that a couple weeks ago. So what's it going to take for Tyler to get that A+ from you?
A+, we blow a team out. We put I'm not trying to say anything about our next opponent, but I'm just saying, we put up 60 points, something like that, something crazy. Tyler breaks some records, that type of game. That's what I expect from him. He's a baller, so I expect the most from him.
We joke about this, Johnny, but in all seriousness, I love the way that you guys have both approached that because Tyler, of course, followed in his interview session and said, yeah, I'd grade myself even harder than that. I mean, that's what you guys are really striving for, isn't it? You just want to be better every day.
Most definitely. That's the goal. Every day, 1% at least better, 1%.
I don't know how much you guys look at the numbers, Johnny, but, obviously, again, this is what I do. I brag about how good you guys are. It's what I do for a living, honestly. So you guys have been just ridiculously good on third down, converting over 70% on third down. Do you pay attention to those sorts of numbers? You guys talk about that at all?
I know Coach Moorhead we have goals that we kind of have as an offense for every week, and Coach Moorhead kind of goes over those Sunday after the game. But, it's not really a number that us individually look at. I think that's just something that we harp on every day. And, we have periods specifically for a third down, and that's just a big down for us because we got to keep moving the ball. We got to score points.
Johnny Johnson III, it's our Pepsi Player Spotlight on the Carl's Jr. Oregon Football Coaches Show. Still more to come, so stick with us. We'll continue our conversation with the senior wideout right after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Ninkasi Brewing is proud to be an official partner of the Oregon Radio Network. Independently owned and brewed in Eugene since 2006, Ninkasi is thrilled to launch Steady Orbit Grounded IPA, a better beer for you. Featuring a bright tropical and citrus flavor, Steady Orbit keeps you grounded at 4.5% alcohol by volume, while delivering that IPA flavor you know and love. Find it on shelves now. More information at ninkasibrewing.com.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
This is the Oregon Football Coaches Show, presented by Carl's Jr. on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Hello, it's me, the designer jeans in the back of your closet. What happened to us? I used to summer in the Hamptons, and now I'm stuck behind a pair of sweats. Okay, maybe I never really fit you right, but I got a lot more Sunday fun days left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Back on the Carl's Jr., I should say. It could be Carl's Football Coaches Show. I mean, it could be that, right? The Carl's Jr. Oregon Football Coaches Show. The Oregon Football Coaches Show also brought to you by the Dairy Mart and Lockmead family, the local stop for fresh-to-go lunch, thirst-quenching drinks, and award-winning ice cream. Go Ducks. We're inside the Country Financial Studio, and we continue our conversation on our Pepsi Player Spotlight with Johnny Johnson III. Okay, now I'm going to maybe tell you a number that you don't know. You were one of the most successful, not just in the conference, but in the country at catching balls that went for first downs. Johnny, did you know that?
Did not know that.
Well, so again, something that we can brag about. So, what's the key to that? You just seem to, they say that there's no such thing as a clutch gene, but
I think it's just taking advantage of the opportunities, knowing that we need that play, and that has to be a perfect rep. That if any of the reps are perfect, that has to be the one, so that we can keep moving the ball down the field. So, it's a combination of things.
How was it playing at Autzen and playing in a road environment without fans? I know that's an obvious question, but it had to just be odd, right?
Autzen, I'm gonna be honest with you. So we had about 3 scrimmages in Autzen that are kind of simulated in the same kind of way, and I think that really got us ready, because that was almost like exactly what the game was like. Going away, going down to Pullman, that was a little strange. It was very different. Obviously, everyone knows what that crowd is like and what that stadium's like. It was definitely different, but once you're in the game, once you're rolling, all that stuff kind of disappears, and you're just focused on your job.
How often do you get asked about Justin Herbert shaking your head to this day?
Not often. People went crazy about that when it first happened. I haven't really got anything about it, but I still remember that.
Well, we had to bring it up because, as you can imagine, when we decided that you were going to be on the Coaches Show this week, I mean, we went back, we found the footage, we watched it. It gave us a good smile. So I just hope that you can still remember the most successful Throwback Thursday that we've ever done, which only threw it back by a week, which was, of course, on Mikael Wright's kickoff return. All right, I wanted to ask you. Last year you and I spoke about your family, and the way I posed the question last year was, you're a Johnny Johnson the third. So I asked you about the first and the second. Could you tell us a little bit more about your grandfather? That, just judging from what you told us last year, Johnny, he was just an all-around impressive guy.
Oh, very impressive guy. He was a professional bowler. He was a photographer. He was a Vietnam War veteran. He was a bunch of things. The list goes on, man. But he was a great guy. He was a very strict guy. A lot of different than what my father is, but the time I had with him, he was a very great guy.
So you said he was a little different disciplinarian wise than your dad, though?
My dad's just a different guy. He had us at a really young age. I kind of grew up with my dad while he was growing up, so we just have a different kind of relationship than him and his dad.
Tell us a little bit more about your family. I always like to ask people that question.
My family is a big family. If we did have fans at the game, you'd maybe see 10, 15 plus people at every game for me, which is amazing, because a lot of people don't have that, and that's a blessing. I appreciate every single one of them. If you don't know, I'm half Filipino and black, and my mother has German, so I got family of all different types of people. I got love from everywhere, so it's amazing. I love my family.
That's cool, and I think that's really cool that you connect with that heritage. If you couldn't tell, Johnny, I'm rather Irish, and so I've got some connections, obviously, back there. Last year we also had you tell the story of how you got the name Johnny Yams. You can follow Johnny, of course, on Twitter at Johnny_Yams. So I'm gonna just recap real quick, Johnny. I won't make you tell the story again as you laugh, but I know that you had Yams. You had a very successful game in Pop Warner. The name stuck. That happened in 7th grade. If you told your 7th grade self that you would still have that nickname to this day, what would 7th grade Johnny Johnson have said?
He probably would have laughed at it and mind it, like, okay, whatever, that's not gonna happen. Because I still to this day, I don't even call myself that. My girlfriend doesn't call me that. You know, it's kind of just like people just call me that. I don't know. When I introduce myself to people, I don't tell them to call me that. I don't know.
You know what? I'm going to take a quote from a coworker of mine who Todd Miles, and he always says that you can never give yourself your own nickname. And
yeah.
I feel like that's the definition. I had to ask you about it, and thanks for having a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
You know, I always like to talk to you, and you probably remember this question, too, from last year, just advice that you would give your 17-year-old self or like freshman year you. Last year you said that it would be to stretch more. Is that still the case?
Sorry, somebody. Yeah, that probably still would be the case. I would say, yeah, stretch more, to be honest with you, because that's really been a big help for me, just getting faster and just being more mobile and getting out of breaks. You know, it's been a big help for me, to be honest with you. So I'd really say stretch more, because I'm going to be honest with you, high school, no stretching at all.
All right. See the honesty, though. I mean, and it continues. Johnny, do you think that we're going to see more Arizona guys like yourself coming to Oregon? I mean, it seems like that pipeline is really building.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. I think the amount of exposure in the state of Arizona is getting bigger. You know, I think it's just going to continue to grow with the amount of success of Arizona products, and I'm just excited for these young dudes to see what they could do. I
got to ask you a little bit about your opponent coming up this week. UCLA, some keys to success for you in the offense.
Play fast, be electric, be motivated, be confident. That's probably like what we focus on, you know, just being us, you know.
That's great stuff, talking with Johnny Johnson. I had a ton of fun catching up with Johnny Yams, Johnny Johnson III, on our Pepsi Player Spotlight. Go Ducks, drink Pepsi. That's going to be a guy that I'm going to watch playing the rest of the year. Man, has he taken a big step the last 2 seasons.
Oh, man. Love that guy.
Yeah.
Really do.
It's going to be a lot of fun this weekend. 12:30, we know that for sure. 12:30 on ESPN2. That means a 10:30 pregame show for us across the Oregon Sports Network. Quickly, a key. How did the Ducks beat the Bruins?
Just keep running the ball and balance. You know, offensively, keep running the ball and balance, because there's going to be some points in this game. But run, line of scrimmage, balance.
He's Mike Jorgensen. I'm Joey Mack. Thanks to Scott Phillips, Mitchell Lee, and fans for tuning in. We'll see you for a 10:30 pregame show Saturday.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.